Okay, and welcome back, everyone, to Strange Planet Podcast. And my, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. But first and foremost, first thing I want to talk about is earlier this week, we had seen the Yankees finally claim the division. So, as we all know, baseball season is coming to a close. I believe the last regular season game is this Sunday coming up, which is just 2 days away. And then postseason begins. As you can see, I'm wearing my hat from 2019. So soon there will be another one from 2024 here. And we can only hope for the best. I think this team is going to be going to the World Series. Godspeed. And even if you're a Met fan, believe it or not, you still pose a slight chance of getting the wild card. I wouldn't hold your breath, but it's possible. So there is a little hope for them to even squeak their way in, and then we'll see what happens with them as time progresses. But most importantly, as you already know, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I'm probably speaking for everybody in here at the same time. But yep, they won. They got the division, and I'm fucking thrilled about it. And I guess moving forward, as far as some of the chaos that's been arriving, uh, P. Diddy, yeah, he's gotten himself into a heap of shit finally, and a lot of this stuff is surfacing. For example, a lot of I think it was over 1,000 bottles of baby oil or lube or something was found in his home, and among many other things, which I'm not going to bring up, but I'm sure most of you already know if you've been paying attention to the news, that is at least. But what do you guys have to say actually about this Diddy situation here?
I mean, all I have to say is how many diddles can P diddle diddly if he diddled any diddles?
Yeah, I mean, but
The,
you wouldn't.
the diddler is loose.
I mean, he always seemed like a somewhat sketchy guy to me, but I didn't know he had an R. Kelly bone in there too. So this is actually very
Yeah,
strange, and I think he's screwed, to be totally honest.
but didn't Dave Chappelle have touched on this subject in one of his stand-ups about people going back some places and coming out different people?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he did, and he was one of many that was kind of, I wouldn't say hint. I guess you could say hinting
Well,
towards this to a certain degree.
he he did actually have a show on one of his sketches was like making the band. Remember that show that
Yep,
he did?
Oh
on the
yeah,
Chappelle Show, yeah,
yeah.
which was one of the greatest shows of all time, man.
Yeah,
Sketch
and
comedy at its
he
finest.
shit on P Diddy there for like his arrogance, but we
Wow.
didn't know at that time how far his arrogance actually went.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah, because even like months ago, despite what we've been hearing recently, but the whole video with Cassie and that lobby, and you know what I mean, and now this, and he's getting sex trafficking counts, and you name it, like it's A to Z with this guy. So it's just weird that like this could have been going on for so long, and it took till now for this to finally surface. You know what I mean? So it's just,
God.
Yeah, well, I
yeah,
mean, it takes a while for people with money and power to, be held accountable if they are held accountable at all.
right. Just like someone else
Case
we know.
case in point, Trump, but also like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Like, there's a long list of people who can get away with shit just because they have money and power.
Right.
And it sometimes takes, initiative of investigators and prosecutors to actually, catch them and to have enough evidence, gather enough evidence to charge them with crimes. And it's sad that these things continue for so long, but at the end of the day, justice, must be served. And you know, P. Diddy sowed these seeds a long time ago, and now the
And coming back to get him.
the crops have grown, and
Oh.
we're gonna see just how you know just how fucked up P. Diddy is, and his uh empire of businesses that he had some great, businesses. Like he had Sean John.
Yep.
Um, I gotta throw out all my Sean John clothing now.
Pretty
Uh,
much.
I can't wear that shit around. Thanks,
Right.
ass. Um, no, it was good clothing. He also had partnership with Ciroc.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's right.
I'm, I don't know the current status of it, but I doubt he'll be, going out there selling Ciroc right now. He also, had Bad Boy Records, which, is, you can't erase the history there.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
He had many important acts like Biggie
Biggie's
and
his biggest. Yeah,
yeah,
easily.
and the Locks. Faith Evans. Like you can't, take that away from him in terms of what he meant to hip hop. But that's no excuse for his behavior and
And his
using
actions. Right, right.
the the power and money that he gained, initially from that industry to abuse people. Can't do it, and he's gonna have to pay for it, maybe for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's the way it's definitely looking here. And if you even take a look at his track record in the past, you're right. There's no denying he was a major contributor to hip hop. But if you remember, this was going back a good, I want to say maybe mid 2000s or late 2000s. That was when the Locks found out that he was stealing their publishing this whole time. And remember that was I was on the Breakfast Club or something, I think, and they were pissed, but they have every right to be pissed. So that's when I realized, even at that point, then that shit that what I mean, Diddy's kind of a shady guy. You know what I mean? Like it's don't take him surface value. He's got other intentions. You know what I mean? And he kept saying, I remember I saw this I saw a rerun of it earlier. It was on YouTube or something. I'm pretty sure I seen it. And he said something like, "Oh, well, they're flipping out on him live on the radio too." And then he kept saying, "Oh, well, if you want to talk, come to the office and we'll talk." And this, that, and the third. And they kept flipping out so much that eventually he just hung up. But yeah, but then I think the Locks ended up going there and they ended up squashing all that. And then they got all their, everything that was owed to them back. But I mean, that says a lot. And then you look at what's happening now is 10 times worse than that. You know what I mean? And it's been apparently ongoing. You know what I mean? Because he had these apparent parties that apparently were even like multiple days. I forget what the name they
They
called them.
call them freak
Freak
offs. He called
offs. That's what it
freak,
was. Yep. And
freak offs where he got his freak on. Apparently,
I guess so. But there's rumors that even he participated in stuff like that too. And let's just say it might not have all been straight. So like I don't know what's real necessarily and what's fake just yet, but there's a lot being distributed right now. And one thing I can tell even the viewers that are watching this and stuff is never take anything on social media 100%.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Make sure you do your actual research because that is just a clusterfuck of just, what I mean, like misinformation. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's just, and that's with anything, not even just this Diddy case. So like if you ever read something on there and what I mean, you're like, wait a minute, what is this? Never take it like a grain of salt, but then go do your actual research to find out how real that might be. You never know. Turns out maybe sometimes it is, but generally I feel like it's not, or it's extrapolated. You know what I mean? So just be aware of that in the same sense. But yeah, I mean, I guess as far as Diddy goes now, there's really no telling as what's going to happen because there's more charges always being thrown at this guy, and I think he's going to get buried alive and he's going to be finished, to be honest, and rightfully so. If all this turns out to be as accurate as it is, you know what I mean? You can't just because you have money doesn't give you the freedom to basically do whatever the hell you want when you want. Although sometimes it's how it seems in this country, but or in general, but you know what I mean? I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, like you have, you know, just we also have another story about Mayor Adams.
Oh boy.
Who, is the mayor of New York City. He's been somewhat controversial. Some people like him, some people don't. Um, he has a sort of law enforcement background, so a lot of black he's black, but a lot of Black Lives Matter people don't like him because he's very cozy with law enforcement. And um, there's just a lot of he's very, very controversial. Now, but he always seemed like a pretty decent guy, you know.
Right, right.
He was very like straightforward, well spoken, always knew what to say, very calm demeanor. However, he was just indicted on several charges
Hmm.
related to his campaigning, and apparently he's alleged to have taken donations illegally from foreign donors from foreign countries like Turkey, and exchanging that for influence in terms of policy.
Oh boy.
New York is an international city, so there are a lot of opportunities. I think one of them was that like he waived like the fire code inspection that was supposed to take place in a building that was built by a foreign entity. Maybe it was a Turkish embassy or something like that.
All right.
But it's just disappointing because you know we already have um, just a tremendous distrust for government and institutions. And this is just another example. We had, Bob Menendez, Senator Menendez in New Jersey,
The gold bars.
being, being convicted of corruption. And now you have in the neighboring state, in our home state, New York, sort of the same thing. Foreign governments, influencing, and not just foreign governments, but foreign, business people influencing our, you know, country's politics, which is horrible because we are a democracy and we're supposed to have our own voices. This isn't like a monarchy where if a king wants to be buddy buddy with some business people in another country, he just makes the rules and
Right.
can get away with that. But we're a democracy and our voices are supposed to be the ones determining our policies. Whether that happens or not, you be the judge. But if there's foreign money coming in and influencing our politics, that just not only rubs people the wrong way, but takes away from our democracy as a whole.
Right.
And so we're going to really have to, I don't know if he's going to survive this politically. They raided his house and, you know, confiscated, or they took his cell phones, and I'm sure that federal prosecutors, they did their homework and they gathered the evidence for, several months now, almost a year. There are other people in his administration, like the police chief or commissioner, who, stepped down. This seems to not only be, scandal for him, but a scandal for people throughout his administration. And that is crushing to, our politics here,
Mhm.
because, who do you trust now? If not only the mayor is corrupt, then, other uh, administration officials are also corrupt, then
And what?
like it's just so hard to come back from that. And people, trusting government and institutions, as I said, is already at an all-time low. And so, it's just going to do more damage and erode the trust that people have. And it's going to be harder to implement policies that help people.
Yeah.
Um, so my hope is that, this doesn't take forever. Hopefully, he'll, be pressured to resign and, I don't want, like I said, if prosecutors didn't have sufficient evidence to bring him to trial, they wouldn't have done
It
it.
wouldn't have happened. You're right. Yeah. Let me ask you
But
this actually, now that we're on the topic. Would you say that, like with other countries and stuff, whether it's donations, whether it's contributions, or whether it's just interference, is this something more in the modern era, meaning the past, I don't know, 5, 10 years? Because I feel like years ago, if this happened, no one ever knew about it, maybe then. You know what I mean? Or is this something you feel like is starting to come in a domino effect?
so so let's back up a bit. In throughout history, in even in states like New York, politics were corrupt as fuck. Okay, especially at
We know that.
the
Yeah.
local level. Like they would have people, you know, go and um if you worked at like a factory or something, the factory owner would say, all right, you go to the polls, you have to vote for this candidate. And that was that.
Right.
There were they there was like this images of like, cigar rooms where like deals were made and just outright bribery.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that stuff was even legal at the time. And so you have to think about, I guess, where we are now. It took a while to get there, because politics throughout our nation's history was corrupt. Um, then we started having laws and courts to enforce those laws against corruption and have ethics in government. And that's in our history a relatively new thing.
Mm.
And so it's there's still work to be done. Um, you look at Congress and they can, they get a lot of inside information from businesses and they can trade on that in the stock market. There was, I think, the Stock Act that sort of combats that a little bit, but not really. Um, there's a lot of room for improvement, but it has improved over time, and I think our expectations have changed, and also our access to that type of information has changed as well. Back then, before these reforms, those sort of things were just how politics worked. That was how it was done. Um, but now we have these expectations as well as these laws that, um, politics is something, sacred to democracy. And we have to respect that and follow the law in terms of campaigning and campaign finance. Now, of course, in this highly competitive system, people are going to try to gain an advantage in any way that they can. But I think in this modern era, we are struggling to, things are coming to the surface that, ways around laws or
Loopholes.
just outright violating laws. I think, people see politics. A lot of people get into politics for the prestige. A lot of people get into politics for the power. And some people get into politics for maybe the right reasons and then fall victim to the
This stuff.
perceived power.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the time has come for new leadership, um, and ethical leadership. People should demand that their leaders be ethical,
I would
and
think.
more. We should have more of an active role in encouraging not only at the polls, but in terms of protesting, in terms of vocalizing. And social media does it to some extent, but it's really like just an echo chamber for extremely loud and obnoxious opinions. I would
Right.
like to see some more you know intellectual and um more reasoned arguments within the social media sphere. And I think that would go a long way to advance our ethical standards that we should all demand of our politicians, regardless of party.
Yeah, no, that's actually well put there. It's true. Because I felt like as far as it coming to the forefront here, one of the first times I've at least when I've been paying attention to it at least was back in 2016 when Trump was asking Russia to help find the 30,000
Oh,
emails. You remember that?
yep, yep.
No, it was like the one of the first times I've ever seen someone, asking other countries for assistance, but in public. So like I was like, this can't be legal. But I mean, maybe it's still pending. I don't know what's going on with that, but that can't be legal. You know what I mean? Like there's something really wrong with that. Because if what's happening to the mayor here in New York is this is happening, I kind of feel like, well, you know what I mean? What's right for one should be right for another,
Yeah,
right?
but I
Like,
mean, there's always that sort of like vague, like sort of like Trump speaks in very vague terms. I
hmm,
think what's his name? Michael Cohen,
Cohen.
was a former attorney.
Yep.
He said that Trump speaks in very vague terms on purpose. He's dumb, but he's not that dumb.
Right,
He
right.
he speaks in a way that the person on the other side, who is, you know, co-conspirator, if you will, he speaks in a way that they will understand what he's saying, what he wants from them. And so, yeah, like Trump can say things and more or less get away with them. He can have, his alibi, or he could have plausible deniability by saying, "Oh, well, I meant this," and yeah, we know you didn't really mean that, but I guess
Right.
if it can't really be proven, and so it's tough, but you know there are a lot of things that are real, that are factual, that Trump has been indicted on, and he can't really reason his way out of it. They're not just his statements, they're things that he did, acts that he took, like documents that he wasn't supposed to have, that he had and didn't give back, and
Right. They were in his bathroom.
I mean, you're
And
not
then he's
supposed to
asked where
have
they are and
that.
he moves them around the house.
They asked for it back and you said no.
Right.
Like why this guy isn't in prison already?
No one, I don't get it. I was just going to bring up that exact question because, like, I hate to say it, my biggest fear is that what happens when Trump 2 comes? Because I really feel like if he loses this election, that's the end of it. And I think in one
All
of
right,
his little rallies,
but
he said
but
something
forget
about this
forget
being his
Trump
last
too.
one.
Like Trump one is still a menace.
That's
Okay.
true. But once I'm
Like
saying once the time has
we need
passed,
to be we no, we need to remain focused on Trump one, because
well, that's a good point too, I guess.
there's an election in November, and that election is going to determine whether we get Trump two.
Yeah, which we don't
Not
want.
Trump
That's for
two. I
sure.
mean Trump one
Trump
again.
won second term. Yeah, yeah, I know what you meant there. But see, what I was getting at by that is not that we should focus on what's coming next, but if we allow this kind of rhetoric to keep happening, especially in politics like this is going to become a new norm. And then these get like, especially on the Republican side, they're going to
He's
come up
already
and try
changed the
this shit
Republican
again.
Party. He's
But
already
then
changed it permanently, I think.
what happened?
Trump's already changed the Republican Party permanently.
Yeah,
They're far gone.
right. But that's what I
Than they
mean.
were.
Because like, if
They're
we
not a
allow this,
conservative party anymore. They don't care about conservatism.
no, they definitely don't care about the middle class. That's a fact too. But let me say
I don't
this:
think
is
they
well, he
really
cares
ever.
about anybody. Yeah, actually, for that matter.
I'm saying the Republican Party never really cared about the middle class in the first place.
That's
But
big facts.
you know, I mean, everyone says they do, but their
Sure.
policies don't reflect that.
Their actions show
Well,
otherwise. Exactly.
well,
Because my theory. Go ahead, Mark.
they don't even have policies. All they have is things that they blame Democrats for.
Pretty
Yeah,
They go,
much.
it's true. Most
if
of
they,
their platform is blame Democrats.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you vote for Democrats, there'll be World War III. If you vote for
Right.
Democrats, your child will be gay. You know what I mean? It's just like they have the fear mongering end of trying to get votes, where like, you know, we actually try to come up with policies that might work. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
I hate to say it because it's boring, but where are the regular politicians anymore? I'm
Right.
tired. I'm tired of this MAGA shit, and everyone's tired of this MAGA shit.
You
And it's
know,
not even just like it's not even just the GOP MAGA shit. I mean, the GOP itself is a fucking disaster.
pretty
But you
much.
know, I mean, there are some who had a good head on their shoulders, who still have a good head on their shoulders. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mitt Romney was one of them.
I agree.
Fucking
I bought his book.
what's her
Yeah, you
name?
did.
Who was Bush's
Liz Cheney.
Cheney? Yeah,
Yep. Cheney.
she's you know she's got a good head on her
Liz
shoulders.
Cheney, but Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris.
Dick
Yeah,
Cheney.
there you
That
go.
is. Yeah. Imagine. But that's also one thing that's a big thing from the debate a couple weeks ago too. Is like, I just found it very interesting that, like you said, it's like he not only transformed the whole party, but it's now turned into like a giant cult. But some of the original, as I call them, Republican classic, they weren't even there. So it's almost like, were they just sitting back and watching their party up in flames? Because like they weren't at that event. They didn't endorse Trump or, want to be on board with this Project 2025. But
Oh
why aren't they
God,
saying something? You know
don't
what I
even get me
mean?
started with that.
Yeah,
But
like I don't get that.
my thing is with the Republican Party, um, since MAGA has been taking over, there is no direction at all. It's literally coming apart at the seams, and they're getting to the point of like rivaling the Inquirer on what they choose as fact and fiction. It's I can't believe that people to this day are still believing in a flat earther mentality. And you know, nothing
I'll
against flat
never.
earthers, you know, you have your opinion, but you can't unprove a fact.
Right?
You know, yeah, oh yeah, well, what about a plane who was flying over a curved earth? They'd have to keep going down. Yeah, but the length of the earth is so long, it does at such a minimal distance you can't even fucking tell. So it's things like that. It's like, when did knowing the truth become not taboo, but almost like cursed? Like, no, I don't want to know the truth. I want to know this ridiculous fact that this man
Mhm.
in orange skin is telling me about.
Right?
And that's the other thing. What does Trump have on these people in you know the House and the Senate that like they kiss his ass and like do shit for him at every other turn?
I
Like,
can
don't
tell
they
you
know they're
one.
feeding into a dictator? Someone who's going to take all their jobs away the second they were like, well, Mr. President, I think you should go with the platinum toilet paper instead of the gold there, and then behead him. You know, he'll be like the fucking Queen of Hearts.
Yeah. Well, I think
It's,
a lot of them are afraid of losing their jobs. That's probably why they're not speaking out and doing it. Because if you speak out against Trump, look what happens. You end up getting
Right.
the
yeah,
boot.
but they're
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
senators. You know,
Right. But you look at the people who speak out against Trump that are elected officials,
yeah.
they're people who are resigning at the end of their term.
Yeah.
They're running for re-election.
That's true. They get the fucking boot. And that's really like
You
a
know,
cult.
once they're not running, they're like, oh, Trump is an asshole. Like, look at Boehner, um, what's it, Paul Ryan.
Yep.
Like,
Even Kelly.
yeah, I mean, Mitt
Oh.
Romney and Liz Cheney were rare ones in that, they spoke out against him. And
Chris had him.
Adam Kinzinger also spoke out against him while they were in office. And look what happened to them. All three of them are, gone or not running for re-election. So it's about the base. They fear the base that is enamored by Trump, and they're not going to upset the base. They're going to go along with wherever the wind is blowing. And right now, Trump, has all the power and all the attention and love of his base.
The cult.
And yeah, it's a weird it's weird shit because a lot of people aren't really a lot of those people aren't culturally similar to Trump
No,
No.
at all.
you'll get black people like, I'm for Trump, and it's just like, dude, do you realize what he's gonna do when he becomes president?
I just don't understand it. I don't I
Me
don't I
And
don't
women for Trump. I'll never understand that either.
It's just like, do people have that short of a fucking memory of not seeing what happened on January 6th? Hey, folks, it's only been like 34 years. It's still a memory in our heads. And
people have a short
everyone's
memory
like, no, it was fine. I mean,
do people have a short memory of when Trump took out a full page ad in the New York Times saying the Central Park
Yep.
Five should be executed
Executed. Yep.
and they were innocent?
And imagine that. And he still stands by it, which is ludicrous. Imagine that with the proof that they were innocent. And he still
right,
stands by it. That shows you how
exonerated,
corrupt he is.
and he's a fucked up individual,
He
but
really is.
it takes a country to support that type of individual and make him president. So that's why when he became elected president, like that day, I was just like, the fuck kind of country am I living in?
Right? It was a
Yeah.
I
dark
love
day
this
for
country,
America, that's for sure.
but I just saw a whole other side to the country that it could even though more people voted for Hillary Clinton that day,
Right?
I was like, how could it be possible that a person like this, who's dumb as shit, like, first of all, dumb as shit, like, he doesn't know shit about shit, and like, how could he be elected to the highest office in the land and be given the most power that any person can have in the world, pretty much? And nuclear
Mind-blowing.
codes, like, I just don't understand it. Like, what like, do these people not understand the job of the presidency? That's what I
Probably.
think. I don't think they understand like what goes into policy and what goes into safeguarding our country. Because if they understood the gravity of it, they would never put Trump in office. I don't care what
Oh,
they're.
yeah. Not a
They
million
would never
years.
put Trump in office if they knew like how much and how close he came to just having our country destroyed.
Pretty much.
I
God
mean,
forbid that'd be a next term if God forbid that
if you
happens.
if you believe some of the polls that are coming out, they're saying that he's a shoo-in to win. It's just like, what polls are you reading? But like, I can't. I can't.
I can't anymore with polls. I can't.
I'm up to
I hear
here
you with
with
that.
I don't trust any poll.
with Trump and the whole election and shit. I just want it to be done. I want to put in my ballot. I want to actually, you know what? There is one thing I am looking forward to though. That is Jack Smith releasing all the data
Yep.
Oh, right.
January 6th. And I think it's Chutkin that's the judge in that one, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, she's allowed to go through it all and see what is presidentially his job, and like because of the immunity rule. So they get to dump 180-page memo, which Jack Smith had to get a special okay from Chutkin. Because usually it's like 9 pages or something when you hand it in. And yeah, this is going to be like a huge bomb drop of all the dirty shit that went on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
it's gonna come out. Yeah, it's
I mean,
gonna
of course
come
it's
out.
going to come out, but he
Yeah.
wants it all to come out after the election, so people don't know what a piece of shit they fucking left into office if he gets elected. Which he's already crying fucking fix. He's got everybody in the Republican Party jerry rigging their areas as fast as possible. It's oh my god, it's just the corruption is so rampant. I mean, if this were a video game and I was playing it, I would fucking go delete and start all over again because like, yeah, it's
right?
too far. It's too far. I gotta start all over again. I did something wrong.
It's a corrupted save file.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a
very corrupted
You
save
can't
file.
get it to work properly anymore. You're always at negative $200 million. It's like, what the fuck?
That's some funny shit, but it's true.
I mean, I love this country because this country allows us to be who we are for the most part. I mean, there are some caveats, especially depending on your race or gender or sexual identity, that you get a little rougher than most. And I wish that wasn't a part of this country because this country is great. It does have opportunities for people as long as you apply yourself to do so.
Right,
Which,
right.
I mean, some of us haven't done that yet, but hey, you know, there's plenty of time left. I'm only 40-something years old. And it's just, you know what it is? It's a lot of like being given like, okay, this is your life. You can do anything you want with it. Enjoy. It's like, okay, is there like a manual I could follow or like some directions to help me get along? It's like, no. You get to experience it all yourself. Make your own story. It's like, yeah, but I'm gonna fuck up a lot. It's just like, yeah, well, you know, it's part of life. God. And basically, like things that we could learn that could help us navigate daily life. I mean, yeah, life doesn't come with the manual, but sure as fuck should. But you know, I mean, that's just life. Well, just gotta do what we gotta do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna always get knocked down, but the important thing is that you get back up. You know what I mean? That's really what it
That
comes
is
down
true.
to. Yeah, like you're right. There's no manual or nothing, but you got to just do everything yourself. But you will fall, but just you got to get up and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the problem is an unlucky person can fall so far
Mm,
that they've buried themselves into a life that they can't get out of.
that's true. And
And
finances play a role.
well, that's the worst thing about this world is money. It's just money buys you anything. It could buy you someone's life, even though they don't even know it. Oh, I don't like you. I'm going to buy the company you work for, and then have them fire you, and then talk to all the other companies in the business that you decided to work in to make sure that you will never get another job in this business. Have fun flipping burgers. I mean, people can be that fucking petty.
That's true.
That's scary. No one
Yeah.
person should have that kind of power.
And it happens too. You're not kidding. That is a thing. You know, you piss off the wrong person, that's the end of that career for you.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be that way, but it is.
I mean, the world's not perfect. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And once we can get past the biases and discriminations and, you know, just hating people in general for any reason, I mean, the world will be a better place. But somebody's got to start doing it first and make it cool.
Right? That's a perfect picture if there ever were to be one painted, that is.
Yep.
You know?
This is one strange planet.
Exactly. Comes full circle there, right?
Yep. And this is our last episode, folks. So have a good day.
Right? All right, everyone. And that's all we have for this week. New episodes of Strange Planet Podcast will be on YouTube every Friday. Be sure to like, comment, and share, and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Guys.
Later.